in this really short series so far we've been looking at the fundamentals, kind of big bangs of musical theory that you can apply to the guitar, and they're key aspects of really understanding harmony and how that applies to your guitar playing and how it can help you without getting too bogged down in monstrous amounts of musical theory. And I really wanted to start to cover now and finish this whole series off with a short note about the modes. And the modes of the major scale, because that's the key in the scale we've been looking at. A lot of people are scared by the modes, or they see it with this kind of mystical reverence, like they'll never be able to understand it, or you need to be extremely gifted or clever to get it, or to apply it. And that's really not the case. In essence, if you can play a scale and there are chords going on underneath that, then you're playing the modes of that particular scale. You might just not know what they're called, or know what's happening, but they will start to sound different. The same scale sounds different based on the chord that you're playing it over. And that's in essence what the modes are, really. The names of the modes that we utilise today are taken from Greek names, and I'll take you through those now. The first one is called Ionian, and this basically is the major scale. So if you start on the first degree of a major scale and play through the major scale, that is C Ionian, C major, C Ionian. It's the same thing. So Ionian, the first mode of a major scale, is actually the major scale itself. So whenever there's a C major chord being played, and you're playing any notes from C major, it doesn't matter what order, you are playing Ionian. It is the first mode. It's all being defined by that chord that's sitting underneath it. If I played the next chord in the scale, in this case D minor, and you carried on playing the same scale as before, any notes from it, any notes from C major, you are effectively now playing the second mode, Dorian, because the tonal centre has changed. Tonal centre is now D minor. You're still playing that pattern of notes the same, and so you're playing Dorian, and it will sound different. It will sound minor all of a sudden. So another way of looking at it is to think about the notes of scale as like a combination block. Now if we start at number 1, and work our way through to 1 again, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If we then start at 2 and work our way through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, that's our next combination, that's our next mode. And the reason they sound different is because if you look at the series of tones and semitones between, the first combination, it goes tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, and then you look at the next mode, you can see the tones and semitones have now changed. It goes tone, semitone, and so on and so forth. And that's what gives it a different sound. So working our way through the modes, we had Ionian, which is just the major scale. The next one was Dorian, and that's played over a minor chord. It sounds particularly good when you've extended the chords into minor 7. So I'm going to play that for you. It's that little vibe on D minor 7. You play the C major scale over that, and you'll get the sound of D Dorian. So you can hear that. You should be able to start to hear the difference between actually just playing and what that sounds like over that particular chord. That's Dorian. It gives you a kind of blues, smoky blues, kind of jazz vibe, which is pretty cool. And you can use it in rock as well. And you can mix the two up. So you can mix Dorian with the blues scale, and kind of mix and match your way around that. But I think I'll cover that in another lesson. So the next mode is the Phrygian mode. And the thing that really gives it its characteristic sound is the fact that if you take that third note of the major scale and you look at where the next note's going to be, it's the first note is a semitone away. So immediately it's got that kind of, it's a semitone away. and that immediately gives you a Spanish vibe. So in the key of C, we've had C major, D minor, and that's D Dorian, and now we've got E minor, and we're going to carry on playing the key of C major, and that will give you a very much a sort of Spanish sound. So the next chord in the key of C major, the fourth chord, is F major, and if you play the C major scale over F major, you get the fourth mode, and the fourth mode is called Lydian. And Lydian's got like a dreamlike quality. It's a really beautiful sounding mode, very interesting and enigmatic. So have a listen to that. So the next mode is built from the fifth note of the major scale, and at the fifth note is a major chord. So if you play, for instance, G major chord, it's the fifth chord of C major, the scale. Play C major, the scale, over G major, the chord. That will give you Mixolydian. That's the fifth mode of the major scale, and it's got a very kind of jazzy, funky vibe to it. And you can also use it for blues and rock and all sorts of different things. It's very happy and lively and upbeat. Okay, here's where it starts to get interesting. The sixth mode of A major scale is actually the natural minor scale. And this is where the term relative minor comes from. So for instance, in C major, we've gone C, D, E, F, G, A minor. So if you play the C major scale over the chord of A minor, effectively all you're playing is the minor scale. So by learning the major scale, you're actually learning the natural minor scale as well. And once you've cracked that, you can actually start to change that minor scale ever so slightly, which will take you into harmonic minor and actually into melodic minor as well. But in true difficult music theory fashion, we've given that particular mode a different name. We don't call it just natural minor. It's actually referred to as Aeolian if we're thinking about it in terms of the modes. So the sixth mode of any particular major key is Aeolian, and Aeolian is natural minor. And then we come on to the final one, which is called Locrian, which, you know, pretty much sounds like a diseased island when you start to hear it and play it. It all sounds very odd, but you'll get used to that sound and you can use it to your musical advantage. And it's built on the seventh chord of the leading chord, which is a diminished chord, which is the kind of chord you couldn't play and then go to sleep. You'd have to come down and resolve that. If I did this and then went to bed, I'd get up out of bed, come back down and go, now and go to sleep. It's got so much tension in it, and that's the whole point of it really. It's giving you that tension to bring you back to one. So you'd think that the mode would have that kind of tension in it, and it does. So you're playing basically from the seventh note of the major scale, going all the way back round again, on that seventh chord, and that gives you the sound of Locrian. So those, in essence, are the modes of the major scale. And there are several ways, like I said, of looking at them. You can either consider them a series of notes that you look at in the major scale. So 1 to 7 is going to be your straight major scale, Ionian. 2 all the way back round to 2 again is Dorian. 3 all the way around to 3 is Phrygian, so on and so forth. Or you can look at them as being defined by the chord that's being played underneath them, and then just forget about the modes, just play the major scale, and the chords underneath them defines them. And then it's the sound and the vibe that they give. If somebody said to me, play me something kind of smoky and bluesy, I'd probably give them like a minor 7, minor 9 chord, or minor 11. And I would probably play the Dorian mode over the top. Because I know it gives you that kind of vibe. So they're a very useful musical tool in that respect. The best way to get your head around them is to get a pattern of notes that your fingers like around those particular notes. And there's so many different ways you can play them, and there's a ton of different things on the net. So I'm not going to bore you. Here's a pattern, here's another pattern, here's another pattern. You can find them all over the place. Get yourself a pattern. Get one chord that sits underneath them, the right one, and then get that looping somehow or another, either on a backing track that just stays the same tonal centre, and then just get used to hearing the sound of that particular mode. As I did before, I gave you that D minor 7, didn't I? And then said play C major over the top of it, which is the second, D minor being the second chord of the major scale, therefore giving you D Dorian. That should give you enough of a vibe to be able to hear what Dorian sounds like. And just do that with each of the modes, and then have a listen out to your favourite songs and stuff. You might start to hear what's going on. And I wager a lot of the time the guitarist or the other musicians might not know that they're actually playing in a particular mode, or indeed care. They'll just be playing what they like the sound of. It's just that we musicians have a way of needing to quantify things and put them into theoretical brackets to help us remember them. So don't get too bogged down with the modes, use them to your own advantage, and I hope you get a lot of joy and pleasure out of them. Until next time.